Hey, I'm not sure how good my audio is. It's probably terrible. I haven't used my mic in forever, and it's a Blue Yeti, and Blue Yetis are notorious for being piles of shit, and not really lasting that long. It's usually because of the little, um, the little male input or the little female input, the little, where you place the dongle at. I forget the exact name for it, the proper name for it. But yeah, they're really kind of shitty, and having a mic that actually, the connection that locks into the bottom would be so much nicer. Just because I know I'd be getting cleaner audio, and audio that good job, and audio that wouldn't lose its fidelity. Anyways, I'm gonna be listening. Well, you're going to be listening. I'm going to be watching this documentary. I really think it's so stupid how people say unalive. Like, that's why I still say retarded. That's why I still say stuff like retarded. I remember growing up, and I had a girlfriend. My first girlfriend had a sister with Down syndrome, and so their family, would get angry at me if I said the word retard or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I took it into consideration, but at the same time, like, get the fuck over yourselves. Like, let words be words. Let words be words. Really, let words be words. We don't have to litigate everything. We don't have to go over everything again. Say, hey, maybe we shouldn't say these. Like, no, fuck it. Like, let all words be words. Retarded, faggot, nigger, all these words. Spick, cunt, tranny, all these. Just let words be words, or you're gonna end up in a police state that's gonna be monitoring everything you say and do, kind of like we have now. And of course, you have cancel culture, and these things just grow. They grow. There's some people that say, "Oh, cancel culture doesn't exist." Actually, it does. A certain form of it does, and it came from seemingly nowhere, and it sprouted. And what do you think's gonna happen? It's gonna keep on fucking growing and continuing and shit. So, yeah, I'm going to. I brought that up because the name of the first film is called Suicided, and it's about Chris Cornell and Chester Bennington, and that whole conspiracy thing about, like, how did they actually die, what was going on. Chester Bennington's got a weird connection to Podesta. The Linkin Park name is got weird connections to other stuff. And so I was just gonna listen to some of that and see what my own reaction is to it, to see if anything kind of piques my interest or sounds like it's onto something. And then there is an Anne Heche one, which is really there's a few of them in this singular post. There's a few different documentaries, all kind of shorter, which is nice. And I really looked into this thread, these movies initially because Anne Heche, that whole Anne Heche thing was so weird. That death, her car speeding out of control, crashing into a home. I mean, literally horrific. Her on fire, burning, and then they take her out. And some people say it was a body bag. Other people say it was a burn unit bag. Like when people have severe burns, they need to have their skin covered, because anything that's going to touch the skin is going to cause extreme pain, and the skin also lifts off. You've got your flesh is melted. So think about it like a fucking cheese pizza or something, right? Say you are a disgusting person and you vape and you vape, you do the vapor thing, and you go get a pizza and it's fresh out of the oven, nice and hot. You take the pizza out of the oven, it's steaming, the cheese is bubbling, the sauce looks good, the crust is not, whatever. The whole point is, imagine if you were to drop your vape, which I don't do because I'm not gross like that. You drop your vape into a steaming hot, brand new, out of the oven pizza, and then you're like, oh shit, let me pick that up. And then you pick up your vape, and a bunch of cheese comes with it, sauce comes with it. You've, let's say, dented the dough. You've dented the slice. And the whole point of bringing that up is to create the image of what, someone who's been severely burned goes through, what their skin is like. And some people say she was in a burn bag, a type of burn bag that was there to protect her. But then there's the crazy image, the absolutely crazy image of, and there was something to do with the time, something to do with the reaction time of the units, the ambulances and stuff. Maybe this will divulge some of that. But then there's a crazy image of her jumping out of, I should say, raising up. She was in a gurney being wheeled out, and at first, no one knew what the hell was going on. That was live viewing that, which I believe I was. I believe I live viewed that because they had helicopters and such around. Hey, what are you doing, Poppy? There's nothing in there. Sorry, my dog. Come here. Yes. Looking for treats? Huh? Looking for treats? And she jumps out of the body bag, and her arms are flailing. She looks like she's screaming. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that because that's something that I projected. I would imagine she's screaming. But she raises up out of the body bag. Her arms are flailing a bit. And then they put her back down, I believe. And then they quickly wheel her into the ambulance. And, I'm curious if there was ever like a time of death. Hey, get that ball off my bed. That's an outdoor ball. Okay, jeez. I threw the ball and it came back at me. Just leave it. Yeah. Good girl. And so, there was that whole thing. But we're getting to about 10 minutes, I should say, with the stream. And I have a thing where I can just drone on and talk for a bit and then totally kind of tire myself out, where I just kind of like, I spend all my energy just kind of going over a few different topics that I just, pontificate on and stuff, and just explore theories on and stuff. And I don't really want to do that. I want to hear some legitimate, where'd you go? I want to hear some legitimate information regarding this. What's interesting? I don't know if it was OBS, I don't know if it's Twitch Studio, but back in the Twitch days, before Kick, I remember frame rates dropping, there being some lag, and I don't know if just the updated software that Kick uses, which is also part of Twitch's, or I should say Amazon's networking package thing. I don't know if they've just updated to the point where you don't have any of those issues, but on Kick it's been extremely smooth. I don't think I've noticed one frame rate drop or anything like that since using Kick, which is just pretty sweet. What does it say? Alright, so I'm just going to start this and see what goes on from there. But yeah, I reserve the right to verbally express myself using the words I want to use. And the fact that it's my time, I'm like a goonie when it comes to my stream, it's my time. It's my time down here. Yeah, I reserve the right to, like, discuss things. But since it's my time and I dictate, like, it's a person's stream. Okay, I think streaming is totally ridiculous. I think it's totally crazy to turn this machine, software, app on and expect people to, I don't know, congregate around your stream. I think that's very silly. I think it's very much more honest and a healthier outlook to just say, hey, I'm going to record my gameplay, I'm going to talk into a mic, and it's also going to be live, so if anyone does feel like they want to interject or share the experience, they're welcome. But that's not the point. The point more so is to vent, to literally vent, to discuss things that have been on my mind, to put them out there, just to expel those thoughts. Just to expel those thoughts. And the fact that I'm streaming, that there's a microphone, it's a ritual. It's not a hobby. Streaming, quote unquote, is not a hobby. It is not. I'm going to repeat it multiple times. Streaming is not a hobby. Okay? It's not a job. It's not a job. If you get paid for streaming, you are in a very weird situation because streaming is not a job. You are not providing anything. Okay? You need an audience in order to create a transaction. And that transaction is usually always equal, or depending on whether you're a small streamer entertaining yourself, which then in turn entertains other people, then that is more of the streamer taking the heavier load of that transaction. Whereas when there is someone who is streaming to tens, hundreds, thousands of people, they're it's like a hold on. So if you're earning income from Kick, there's different ways to kind of see it. I don't think it is a job. I don't think it is a hobby. I feel as though it's like a passive income, or it's part of a portfolio. Meaning, say you're like Amaranth. You already have a viewer base, which is going to bring in revenue, and when you decide to stream to different sites, you're expanding your portfolio. But her stream isn't the thing that's making her money. She's making the money. And that's what streamers need to realize, is that the streaming aspect of streaming, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't fucking matter. You could have the most advanced stream, and if you are not a product that appeals to a lot of people, and that's very fucked up. That's a very dystopian, pessimistic way to look at just our current situation in society. That people are actually products. That's why I hate streaming, is because at a certain point you have to look. If you're going to take this too seriously, and I didn't say seriously. Because if someone takes their stream seriously, what they're going to do is they're going to create a healthy environment for them to act out or showcase the things that they're already doing. To me, there's no amount of technology that will sustain this so-called streaming thing without the talent to back it up. That's why so many streamers end up going through this emotional kind of, I'm emotionally spent, which I think is so pathetic. Like, be emotionally spent from real work, be emotionally spent from your family, relationships, from your living conditions, from bills, from the environment, whatever, but not fucking stream. Stream is something that you should have complete control over, because it's a means to an end, okay? It's a means to an end. And that means is a vehicle to get to a place. Twitch streaming is a vehicle to get to a place. What streaming is, I just figured it out. For anyone who ever listens to this, you're welcome. What streaming is an import-export situation. Okay? The stream itself is worth very little. What's worth the most in a stream is the cargo being exported from the streamer to the viewer. The cargo being imported by the viewer from the streamer. So streaming is simply a means of moving your product. That's all it is. It's a chain. It's a production chain. There's nothing whatsoever. So if you turn on your stream and you expect, hey, I'm going to get views, I'm going to get partnered, I'm going to get this, and the only thing you're doing is turning a camera the fuck on and talking to the camera, unless you got some real fucking interesting things to say, unless you have a charisma and ability to hold an attention, or at least to discuss things that are relevant enough that it holds the viewer, then you're not going to go anywhere. You're not going to go anywhere, because I've been in so many streams where let's say the market cap of viewers is like below 40, below 20, and my market cap, which I'm fine at because I don't consider myself to be a part of the market. Go over here. Come on. Over here. Come on. Good girl. What'd you do with my... You forgot my slipper. She's trying to get my attention. Where's your toy? Huh? Anyways, so I've already spoken over the time that I've wanted to speak. But I guess that's also a good thing, because it's the whole fucking point of turning on this camera, or not turning on the camera, turning on this microphone, turning on the stream, finding something of interest that piques my interest, that motivates me to want to discuss it, to want to analyze it and define it, or to have it defined for me and then be able to react to it. So I'm not, I don't expect anything from just turning on the screen. But I think it's a valuable tool for someone to explore their own ideas outside of their head, because you have to think about talking to other people. So there's a process in a person's brain where, okay, let's say you have a conversation about a subject in your own head. You think about it a lot. You think about it. You analyze it. You try to get to the bottom of it, or you try to explore it further, or you try to come to a conclusion, or you have a feeling about it, a prejudice, or a bias, or a preference, and it's all internalized. Then when you do something like streaming and you turn on the microphone, you turn on the stream, and you talk to an audience, you have to make it digestible, or at least a little bit more articulate than what was in your head. And that process is not a conversation with someone else. It's still a conversation with yourself, but it's a more articulate, more refined version of those inner thoughts. And I think it's a good process. I also think that it would be good. I think what I'm doing, now that I look at it with a little bit of instant hindsight, sorry, I was looking at my dog. What I'm doing is actually very good. It's self-reflection, but on a platform that would allow for there to be interaction. And self-reflection is a huge thing that people do not do. People do not self-reflect. People would much rather be judged by each other than actually self-reflect. People would rather, what I mean by that is people would rather speak their dumb, stupid shit to other people and have them disagree or be combative or whatever it is, whatever kind of miscommunication or misinterpretation fiasco. They'd rather have that miscommunication. They'd rather have that argument than be able to self-reflect on their own time, digest, think about it, masticate those thoughts again, and then swallow it, and then finally, when you've reversed engineered the thought turd so that you've, instead of extracted all the vital ideas, okay, out of it, in the reverse, you've injected it with as much ideas, but I guess also while kind of sculpting the shit into something that's palatable. Such a funny weird way to explain it, but then you can poop it out in the public. And we don't do that enough. We do not do that enough. Where we go and listen to someone really kind of have self-reflection upon the experience they're having in their own lives. What's more so is, instead of self-reflection, we have mental kind of breakdowns. People have they don't have self-reflection. They go past the stage of, okay, I can self-reflect. They get to the point where they've neglected all this self-reflection and they hit a fucking emotional wall, and at that point then they have to say, wait, why am I like this? Why am I reacting this way? Why am I feeling this way? And that's when they have to self-reflect, which is completely unhealthy, but that's what all of you fucking streamers do just about. That's what all of you streamers do just about. You hash things out on stream because you've been programmed to think, hey, any publicity is good publicity and drama is going to get more views, and so therefore you feel justified airing your dirty fucking laundry on these social media sites. And for instance, I'm not going to bring up her name because she would have a shit fit and she would freak out and she would be like, oh my god, psycho this, psycho that. But there's a streamer who I used to talk to and used to watch, and this person didn't understand the environment they were creating within their own stream, what they were allowing, the type of discord and kind of separation they were creating in their own kind of community base, because they were trying to go full steam ahead, fake it till you make it situation. And like, that does not always work. Faking it till you make it does not always work. Sometimes people have to accept their limitations, and it's better to accept limitations than to be fraudulent. Be fraudulent with the whole point of streaming at a certain point, at a certain context, a certain perspective on what you want your stream to be, if you want a community in your stream, at a certain point you're going to have to interact with people that come into your stream. And if they come into your stream regularly, then there's going to have to be some type of communication that shows who these people are, unless you don't care, because I'm the type of person that I don't care. If you come into my stream and you chat, cool, but at the same time you are just words on a screen, and it's very hard to care about words on a stream or on a screen rather than going to someone else's stream and getting to know them that way. I feel like there's streams are such isolated bubbles that it's very hard to get any sort of go ahead, get up. It's very hard to get any sort of real personality of the people around the streamer, unless the streamer is very submissive, which I've seen recently, where a streamer collabed with another streamer, and I don't know if they're in a relationship, but they seem like it. And the stream that I was watching was the smaller stream of the two, and the smaller streamer ended up having a little conniption fit, a little mental breakdown. And it's because it was that person going from their little pond to a bigger pond and not understanding that there's going to be overstimulation. So for instance, let's say you're a streamer who gets 20 viewers a stream, 40 viewers a stream, around that ratio, around that demographic of streamers, around that percentage of streamers, or viewers I should say. And then like you've been streaming for years, let's say, and you've been having those types of numbers for years, day in, day out. Let's say you're full time. You've drank the Kool-Aid, and you said, I'm gonna do this all the time now. This is what I'm gonna put my efforts into, my energy into, and you do that for quite a while, for months, years, seasons, whatever. And then suddenly you jump. You want to jump. You want to be a big time. You want to have a lot of viewers. But then you jump to a larger audience, and you cannot treat 400 viewers the same way you can treat 20 viewers, or the same way you can treat 5 viewers, or the same way you can treat 1,000 viewers. and people don't, for some reason, people can't grasp that, and they walk into something that they are not capable or have prepared themselves to handle properly. They think they can bite the bullet, and they end up getting shot, I guess. And to me, that's really kind of unfortunate, because we're dealing, what's the average streamer's age? I'm curious. Let me actually look this up. Bless me. Okay, here's Twitch. As of February 2024, the largest group of Twitch users are between the ages of 25 and 34. 25 and 34. According to March 2024 survey, 14% of the response between the ages of 18 and 34 live stream content, compared to 21% up to 35 to 54. That means the average age of streamers, of viewers, is going to be out of their 20s. It's going to be late 20s, early 30s. And that's crazy to me, because what that is telling me is that these people, they might be doing it for reasons of social reasons. They might want to be more sociable. They might want friends. But what this is really telling me, that age demographic, is people are relying on streaming for their income, or like a side income, which is super interesting to me. And it makes sense, because I see a lot of fitness streamers. I see some streamers that own restaurants and stream from their restaurants. I see streamers that do their day job, like about being a mechanic, being a carpenter. And that's really interesting that they feel expanding their portfolio would include adding streaming to it. And in a way, we've been conditioned to think that way, because if you think about, let's say, the History Channel or the Discovery Channel, which used to be amazing channels, they used to show the most I shouldn't say informal, informative, enlightening material, and I hate the word fucking content, because most people that say the word content aren't doing jack shit. You're not creating something that's going to be remembered tomorrow, let alone in a week, let alone in a year. Okay? Making a memory is not content. That's not the same as entertainment. That's not the same as creating art. That's not the same as creating an infrastructure, a structure, or a tool. It's not the same. It's not the same. And when you think about content, what's funny? Where the word content really comes from is pornography. And it's been adopted by pornography. OnlyFans content, that's what they call it, content. They don't call it porn. They don't call it nudie pics or nudie videos or whatever the fuck. They call it fucking content. And it's ridiculous, because it's, and that's the funny thing too. It's the sad thing, is that unfortunately pornography is a industry. And so if you produce a picture of a pussy lip, if you produce a picture of your bush, that's content, which is so fucking sad. But the thing is, streamers have adopted this term as if the same type of minimal effort that pornographers create, specifically OnlyFans content creators, because for instance, Boogie Nights. Think about the movie Boogie Nights. Think about how seriously those characters took their craft. It required funding. It required planning. It required casting. It required buying or renting the tools needed. It required locations. It required distribution. It required there to be publicity, writing back then. That, and that's why, that's how an industry that once did put effort into what it was making went from, okay, we're going to make this content a la Boogie Nights. We're going to make this content like Burt Reynolds' character. And they kept content, all the way, content. 70s content, 80s content, 90s content, 2000s content, etc., all to say that this vocabulary of what the fuck you're doing on the internet, learn where these linguistics come from. It's like the term woke. Black people hijacked the being awake. You're not awake. The term woke was not a black thing. White people did not hijack woke. Black people took the term awake and made it woke. Okay, and it means totally different things. Being awake, when that term started being used, it meant that you were awake to the fact that the country's not being right, that there's corrupt politicians, there's corruption in every single industry, that there's crime, organized crime under the skin of almost every institution out there. That not only is it crime, but it is barbaric savagery at the core of many of our institutions. And not only that, but those cauldrons, those covens of evil have tendrils that spread out all over the place. And it was people that could connect the dots and say, why is this single thing fucked up? Why is this thing over here fucked up? And then they start connecting the dots, connecting the web, connecting the tendrils, and they're like, oh, at the very center of this, there's an entity, not meaning Godzilla or Pazozo or whatever the fuck his name is, or not Voldemort, not that type of entity, but an entity in the sense of a corporate entity, a group of people together, moving as a bigger body. Their goal, their desires, and what motivates them it is to compromise everyone else, is to subliminally and to quietly, stealthily, in an espionage type way, compromise everyone else. Okay? They're already compromised, so they want everyone else compromised. And the term being awake was to the fact that, hey, everybody's asleep to this fact. Everybody is walking around, living in the United States, living in the world, not understanding that there is an entity, a cabal, an organization, groups, not just one, multiple groups, that exist on a different plane that exists below the surface that partake in the inverse of what society deems acceptable. And being awake was being like, wait a minute, did we really go to the moon? Wait a minute, okay, is Bigfoot real? Wait a minute, what about Dogman? Wait a minute, do these politicians really do this? Do they really go to islands? Do they really, are they really involved with organized crime? Who really controls this, that, and the other? Is our food really full of poison? Are we really being lied to? That was what being awake meant. And then you have the liberal side of things, because it's, we're in a rock, in between a rock and a hard place. The promise of liberals is more freedom, more acceptance, more of a pleasure seeking life. Like you are given a little bit more free reign to say loosen your morals with liberalism. And then they took that to the umpteenth degree as society collapsed. It's like as society started collapsing, then the agenda started escalating, ascending, increasing, and becoming more of a driving factor. It's like the monkeys, us, the citizens, the more society kind of collapses, the more susceptible we are to their gestures. It's like a monkey with electrodes in its brain. Like one electrode, let's say you can control a toe. 2 electrodes, you can control the eyes. 3 electrodes, you can control if the monkey walks. 15 electrodes, you can control the monkey's daily routine. 100 electrodes, you can completely control every aspect of the monkey. Every aspect. And I believe that is what we're experiencing is, a lot as moral decay increases. Liberal type of free-for-all society escalates, but there's also a division, and if you really think about it, it really is the playbook of making everyone more sinful, which is just an easy kind of nomenclature, an easy kind of thing to digest for the layman. That there is an agenda to create more sinful behavior, because that sinful behavior is damaging to society and individuals caught in that cycle. And those people that are caught in that cycle, they're desperate to find any sense of normality. So it's like the crazier society gets, the more the corrupt people get to play the savior and promise a little bit of more normality. And it's just crazy. I don't know really how I started that specific topic, but at the same time, it's all good to get all these things out. It's all good. It's all good. And you know what? It's really good to get it out without anyone around, without having to humor someone else's mental perspective, because there is so much there. And to be honest, when I think about myself and all the things that are in my head, as far as all the things that I question, all just everything, I feel like I have a lot less than most people, because most people do not get that chance to properly self-reflect. or they put themselves in a situation where there is not a purified, sanitized place to self-reflect. And I don't mean sanitized and, oh, let's coddle you. I mean sanitized in the sense as the environment is sterile, and I can expound and spew and release what I need to in this environment, and then I can observe it. I can further analyze it. I can just watch it and how it behaves outside of the mind. Those ideas, do they actually sound as, let's say, confident or crazy or on the money, whatever? Do they actually sound the way they do within your mind? And I don't think people get that chance. And you know what? Part of that is because, usually that conversation is held with God, where you are, and that's another thing that's connected. So, like with stream, like I said, you can do this in your mind. That's one way to purge these ideas or to go through these ideas, but it's a different set of mechanisms in the brain than when you speak, when you form sentences and words and speak. And like when you're speaking to God, let's just say there's no God. Let's for just to take a minute, just to hypothesize, theorize. Let's say there's no God, but you still have faith. Like, there's a part of you that realizes, okay, there's no God, but at the same time, you understand the benefit of there being a God, a benefit of there being kind of a guidebook or a shortcut on how to have a healthy mental, emotional, physical, spiritual life. So when you're praying or you're talking to God, whether there is a God or not a God, let's say there isn't a God. Let's say there isn't a God, and either you're a person that fully believes or you're a person that has faith but knows the truth. Let's just for the sake of the argument, what these two people are doing when they're talking to God is they're forcing their own conscience. They're forcing their own conscience, their own consciousness, to reevaluate their own thoughts, their own feelings, their own desires, and reorganize them in a higher, emotionally intelligent way, a perspective that is supposed to be more full of clarity and understanding and omnipotence. It's like playing a role. It's like being an actor and playing a role and saying, okay, I gotta be this person. I gotta pretend to be Steve Jobs, and I'm not Steve Jobs. Let's say you're an actor that didn't even go to college, but you have to play Steve Jobs. Well, in that sense, you have to understand a mind that's academically, technically, mathematically, more business-minded, all that. You have to elevate yourself to reach those levels, and it's something that you have to ask yourself to, okay, I've got to act more poised, more articulate. I have to know what I'm talking about when we're discussing these topics. I have to have a sense of something more than myself so that I can reach this character. In the same sense, you're adding more to yourself in order to reach the conclusions that you believe are coming from God. You have to, because if you're coming to the exact same conclusions that you come to when you're not praying, let's say someone that prays to the same person praying, not praying. So if you are asking yourself, or you are just self-reflecting and you're just doing it with yourself, it's going to be different than as you would self-reflect with the idea of it being a conversation, with it being something that is being judged, basically, that is then being digested by other people. Henty ways. It's so funny. I only wanted to talk for 10 minutes, and somehow I talked for 50 minutes. And I haven't even started the documentary that I wanted to watch. And I don't think it's good to necessarily come to the internet to self-reflect on personal matters like friendships, relationships, family matters, financial matters. Like, it's good to discuss ideas and concepts and questions, but it's not necessarily good to search for answers or search for some type of coddling compensation by divulging personal matters. I think that's really petty. I think it's extremely petty, because you're venting to an audience, if you have an audience, and that audience 99% of the time is going to side with the person they're venting with, which means they're not going to give you a straightforward analysis or perspective on what's going on. They're going to be kissing your ass, which I think is stupid. Like, there are so many caveats to streaming, where if you don't come into this with zero expectations and just wanting to express yourself in other ways, then it's pointless. Like, it's streaming started with the gaming, and the gaming, to me, is art. It should be art. It's another way to self-reflect. It's another way to experience it. It's another way to open up your mind and open up your heart and to just have a different experience. And so gaming is cool. Like, I get that. And to want to share that experience is great. But to expect people to enjoy your experiences is really naive. To say, why aren't my friends here? Why aren't my friends always here supporting me? It's like, bitch, support yourself. Support yourself. Stop expecting other people to appreciate you when you don't appreciate them, and you don't appreciate yourself, and you're not honest with yourself. And so I think streaming is not just a double-edged sword. I think it's like a multi-edged glaive or something, or like a ninja star, where there's blades everywhere, and you really have to be direct about why you're doing this, and you have to make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. Otherwise, you are just really naive and stupid. You're just really naive and stupid and very immature, very, very immature, expecting an audience or money or a conversation or anything. If you can't entertain yourself, then who cares? Who cares? But the sad thing is, though, people idolize streamers like it's a job. But the most successful streamers, I almost see it like it's like a burden. It's a necessary burden that they have to go through. When I've like, Amaranth is big on this kick thing. Like, she's one of the biggest streamers, and there's XQC. When I've turned on Amaranth and she's sitting there and getting ready and watching video, not even watching the video she's playing, she's massaging her face and you know, getting ready and putting on makeup or brushing her hair. It's like, that is not content, that is not entertainment, that is nothing. That is nothing. That is, it's literally just another routine. And that's why I originally called it a ritual. Streaming is a ritual, almost like, if you're a writer, I believe all real writers have a ritual to how they get in the groove. Whether it's time of day, time of night, things you eat, the room you write in, the pen you use, the paper you use, the computer you use. It's a ritual. And I believe streaming, more than anything, is just a ritual. It's just a routine that you add to something you're already doing. That's kind of the best way to look at streaming moving forward into the future. Because a lot of these streamers that got popular only got popular because they got in really early on. And they've created a name for themselves based on the fact that they adopted this ritual before other people did. So therefore people look to those people as founders, or, you know, the successful ones. But streaming should not be seen as a hobby. It should not be seen as a job. Streaming is simply a ritual that you add to things that you are already doing, and that's how you be successful. Is that you do not allow streaming to dictate anything to you. You don't let streaming dictate a fucking thing to you. You dictate to stream. You dictate to stream. You dictate the type of environment you want. You dictate when you stream, how long you stream, what you stream, who you stream with, who you stream to, the conversations you have, all of that, all of that, all of that, all of that. And that's also why I will go into a stream and I'll test the streamer. I'll say some wild shit and I'll be like, what kind of environment is this person creating? Is this person chill? Is this person super uptight? Does this person have crazy white knight mods? Or is this person, you know, just doing their thing on their own? Is this person about gaming? Is this person about IRL? You know, all those things. And the difficult thing about watching streamers nowadays is they think what I just said they shouldn't think. They think that streaming is a hobby. They think that streaming is a job. And then they add all these things into, like, I'm going to name one person. Like, there's this chick, BB Jess, okay? And it's very interesting to see her room, to see her fashion, to see her, or I should say, hear her speak, because it is all a character that, because of streaming, she created. And now she's that character. And now she's that character. Like, how long can you keep up wearing crazy outfits, having crazy hair, being super loud and obnoxious, randomly singing songs, you know, smoking weed on the job, let's say? You know, how long does this... It's almost like stripping. It's almost like being a professional athlete not in the sense of not in the sense of, oh, I'm doing all this, I have this talent, I'm doing all this work or whatever the fuck. And what I mean by that is, sooner or later there's going to be a wall. There's a life expectancy for streamers, in my opinion. We are still in the infancy of streaming, and it's curious to see what will happen to streamers within the future. I've seen a few streamers quit. I've seen a few streamers that I actually enjoy quit. And good for them. They've moved on with their lives. They no longer view streaming as something they need to have their life fit around. And it's good. That's good. I think some of the most damaged people that live stream are the people that have shaped their life around the stream instead of the stream around their life, and have made the stream almost the only joy or the greatest joy in their life, which is very fucking weird to me. Like, okay, I get people wanting to be social, interacting, and needing that social connection for a healthy psyche. But streaming is the communication in streaming is so obtuse and so one-sided and so parasocial and so misconstrued and misinterpreted that it's like, how is that really a communication? It's not. And so it's like people that put all their chips in one basket do not realize, for whatever reason, that they are not going to get the things out of streaming that they actually need. Forget about what they want. Forget about their desires or dreams, but what they really need. What they really need that's going to heal them, that's going to improve them, that's going to benefit them. And I've started enjoying games on my own again. And usually the games that I like to play are narrative based, because to me that is art. It's like watching a movie, and when you watch a movie and you really want to experience the movie, you go to a theater, you sit with an audience, and you can feel that energy when you're focused in on a narrative, and the narrative allows for a bigger connection between streamers and the chat. Okay, if your chat or if your viewers are just as locked into what you're viewing or into as you are, then you're able to bridge a gap there. That shared experience. Anyways, I think I have rambled, vented long enough. I'm gonna play some of this video. I'm gonna play some Ace Combat and see how I feel. Maybe I'll just end up turning off stream because I've kind of got it all out, which I've done before, and which is cool, which is what I like. I mean, why the fuck would I sit on this computer in this chair streaming, playing video games for more than 2 hours, for more than 3 hours? For me, 3 hours is like the max. If you're sitting playing a game, especially a single game, in the entire fucking day, and you're an adult, I feel like there's something wrong with you. I feel like there's something really wrong with you. I feel like you have like a small attention span, but at the same time you're kind of on autopilot. You're in what is it called? So it's beta waves. Interesting. So it's beta brainwaves. It's beta brainwaves when you're watching a movie and it's usually because of an emotional scene. So what I'm seeing with some streamers, there's a specific streamer that I'm thinking about who she streams every day, I think, maybe 8 hours a day, maybe 6 to 8 hours a day, Fortnite. And it's almost like she's a man, like one of those, the Hall of Presidents in Disney World or Disneyland, and it's like she's animatronic, okay, or like that one TikToker who, got flowers or something like that, and she did the whole NPC thing. That's what it's like when I see someone playing a game for like 6 to 8 hours. Is like their brain waves are in a certain state, and it's like they're just on autopilot, and the only time they react, it's like a canned reaction to someone following or this, that, or the other. And the only time I actually see real emotion or real kind of cognitive reaction to the world around them is when they, like, say, win a match, and then you see like more movement, more brain function, more awareness, more alertness, more interaction. And it's kind of weird because I realize that a person like that is putting themselves in a hypnotic state, just kind of a dulled out state. Anyways, I kind of want to shut up now. I kind of want to shut up now, which is great, which is so good, which more people need to do. More people need to vent in a way that they feel they're being heard, which I do because, I'm taping this. Like, literally, I'm being heard. Literally, that microphone is picking up my voice. It's being put out onto the internet. It's being saved to a file. So I'm literally being heard. There's literally that cognitive recognition of I'm not just talking to a wall or a rock, or a dog. Well, it's easier to talk to a dog because there's a understanding that the dog can understand some things. But yeah, I think more people need to talk themselves to a state of being, you know what, I'm kind of done talking, I'm good, without needing to bother other people. So many people seek attention. And the funny thing is, this is not me seeking attention. I really don't give a fuck. Sorry, I was reading something. Okay, I'm gonna put on this fucking documentary finally, and I'm gonna try to go bomb some, I don't know who these people are in this game, but I'm gonna go try to bomb them.
This is a concerted effort, politics of personal destruction. Fuck you, John Podesta.
Just got to the location and his housekeeper came out and said that he unfortunately killed himself.
I did something really dumb. I'm not suicidal. I'm not suicidal.
No.
Not right now.
In November of 2009, a woman named Laura Silsby founded a nonprofit, the New Life Children's Refuge, which described its mission as attempting to
Mihai's
rescue orphaned
granddaughters
and
like to keep
abandoned
to
children
themselves
in Haiti
mostly.
and Dominican
They
Republic.
were well behaved and possessed
2
a
months
sort of
later, on January
quiet
29,
elegance.
2010, Silsby was arrested for
From time to
attempting to
time,
traffic
I'd
33
catch myself
orphaned
looking
children
at him,
out of Haiti without
wondering what they were
documentation.
talking about.
These are some of the 33 Haitian children
sure
an
everyone
American
on the base did
Baptist
the
group
same.
allegedly tried to
such enthralling
unlawfully take
creatures.
out of the country on Saturday.
The group's leader, Laura Silsby,
Every night,
says the
a
group
crowd
paid
would
no
gather
money
around
for the
Mihai.
children.
The mistake obviously we made is we
They
did not
were the men
understand that there
tasked
was
with
additional
guarding
paperwork
him in the air.
required.
To me, it's pretty alarming because we're the
Their
legal
jackets all
parents
bore
of
the
these
same
children,
patch,
and we give her
relic
explicit
from a
instructions
nation
not
that was
to
long gone.
interfere with them. For her to continue to come and try to
Decades
find them,
ago,
to take them
during
to
the
the
age of
Dominican,
expansion,
tells me that her
the
intent
kingdom
is
of
not actually the
Arusha
best.
absorbed many countries. Theirs was one of them.
The world would later
Mihai
learn
asked
through
them,
WikiLeaks that Hillary Clinton was sent
Yet
email
what is a
updates
nation?
from Uma
Can we
Abedin
actually
and
see
other
the
associates
physical lines that divide
regarding
one from
Silsby's
another?
incarceration and developing
People of
legal
my
case.
generation can no longer
This was
speak
not the
language
first
of
time
our
Silsby
homeland.
found herself facing
My
child trafficking
grandparents
charges.
always look sad when they
Silsby
see I
had been
have
caught
no
once
idea
before
what
by
they're
Haitian
saying to
police
me.
attempting to traffic 40 children out of the country. However, in
Mihai
that
didn't
incident,
say a word after
no
that.
charges were brought
His
against her,
scarred face
and she was
betrayed no
merely
emotion.
turned back at the border.
He didn't get those scars from flying, though.
A week after Silsby was apprehended the
Mihai
second
was
time,
originally from
on
Shalashi.
February 7th, 2010,
His real
former
name
President
is
Bill
Mihai
Clinton appointed
Dumitru
Silsby a
Margarita
lawyer
Corneliu
by the name of
Leopold.
Jorge Puello. Puello was successful in getting Silsby's charges reduced to 6 months. Jorge Puello also had a colorful history with human trafficking. He was convicted of operating an international sex trafficking ring involving women and underage girls out of Central America and Haiti. Puello's wife was also arrested on the same charges. In 2011, Silsby was appointed as CFO of the software company Connexus and would later become its vice president of marketing. Connexus operates AlertSense, which is the mass notification software used in FEMA's Integrated Public Alert and Warning System, or IPAWS.
The goal is to alert Americans to emergencies like severe weather and missing children.
One of IPAWS' functions is to issue Amber Alerts to the public in the event of kidnapping. The Amber Alert system was set up during Bill.
Testing, testing. Hello, hello. I just had a little thought. So, these border kids. A lot of kids missing from the border. First of all, we don't track any of the adults, really, that cross the border illegally. Right? Right? We all know that, right? ICE isn't up their ass. There isn't a system in place to keep track of them. Migrant shelters are pretty slapdash, let's say. You know, they're just like, you know, here's an empty building over here on this island over here. I think it's Roosevelt. Is it Roosevelt Island in Manhattan, off of Manhattan, where the migrants are, where the migrant shelter is? I forget. My friend in New York and I were talking about it. But anyways, they don't. We know for certain. And if you don't, you're stupid. You haven't been paying attention. You've been, you know, filling yourself with fairy tales. They don't keep track of the illegal immigrants, right? Of the adults, of the adult immigrants. But adults aren't the only ones coming over. What happens to all those immigrant kids? And I remember years ago, probably almost a decade ago, you know, them talking about FEMA camps and all that. Like, you know, FEMA camps going up in random places in different states. And people questioning, you know, why are these camps going up? Who are they for? You know, why are they going to try something on the American people? And we're all gonna get rounded up into FEMA camps, and that kind of never really happened, right? But where are the kids? But where are the fucking kids? Is that what these FEMA camps are for? Am I getting too close to the sun? Am I gonna say some shit that's gonna be too close to the target? Because as far as I know, these FEMA camps go unused yet. Yet they're there. Yet they are supplied. Can you imagine? I mean, I shouldn't say can you imagine, but I just imagined, what if America had their own concentration camps and people didn't know about it? People didn't know about it because it was on federal land somewhere, or it was on private land somewhere, or it was underground. And there are concentration camps within this country. Just imagine if that were the case, if there's literal concentration camps going on in the country without us even knowing. The dumb bases, deep underground military bases, that's what they're called, dumb. That's their acronym. What if sites like that, you know, they say that is it the Met in LA? I forget, but there is a public facility, like a museum or a concert house, I forget which. I think it's near the observatory in California and LA. And there's said to be tunnels that run underneath it, and it's part of trafficking, trafficking ring. And they say that we have more slaves now in our time than there were in, let's say, when slavery was still going on in America. There was more slavery. There's more slavery now than there was then. But we don't really see it all that much. When's the last time you've seen a slave in camp? Anyone? Anyone? Bueller? Anyone? Bueller? Bueller? Yeah, right? Like, when is the last time anyone has actually seen people enslaved? Anyone? Bueller? My point being is, we're so bad at accounting in this country with everything. Money, of course, but with everything. It's just horrifying. It's just fucking horrifying. It goes back to that awake thing. Being awake means you realize you're living maybe not exactly in, but adjacent and parallel and contemporarily with hell. That's what being awake means. That for me, one of the biggest things about becoming so-called awake.
Aircraft preparations complete. Stand by at the front.
Was there's the process of, things aren't that great, or things could be improved. How do I fit into the world? How do I leave the world better off than the way I came into it? And when I came into it, the world seemed pretty great. But you go through that process of figuring out, okay, what's my purpose in life? As far as, getting to the point of being awake. You go, what's my purpose in life? Where do I fit in? What's this world about? What's the truth of things? And my version of waking up 2005 was just being kind of like, blah. That was just that ick. 2005 was that ick. And then subsequently 6, 7, and 8. 8 is where I really feel everything clicked, and I accepted it. And I just accepted it. Maybe even sooner, maybe 2007. Where you go through the process, how do I fit this, that, and the other, and you get to the point of, oh, I got it. Here's a solution for this. And wait a minute, here's a solution for this. And wait, if we only did this, it would solve this. And the thing that's affecting this most is this. And if we mitigate it, it'll alleviate this, that, and the other. The part of waking up for people, and I almost guarantee this across the board, is the point in your life where you say, hey, I know how to solve this problem. Or I want to be involved helping solve this problem. And you say, okay, that's what needs to be done. Common sense logic. But then you realize, or you come to an impasse where, wait, why didn't someone think about this before? Why aren't we already doing this? Why aren't we moving towards this? Why aren't our discussions, our philosophy, our culture, our society headed in this direction and not headed into that direction? And you really have to marinate and be honest and think about it and know what questions to ask in order to get what answers you need, as far as the things you ask yourself. And then that honesty. And for me, was realizing, hey, we have literally, this was the thought, we have the ability for everyone to be happy, everyone to be fed, everyone to be housed, everyone to have proper medical care. We have the ability for food, shelter, medicine. As far as protection goes, at the end of the day, if we could all get along, I know that's really silly and ideological, but at the end of the day, if we could all get along and understand this person's has these needs, this person's has these needs, let me not get in the way of that while I get the things that I need. And also by giving back, there's that saying, lead? It's lead, follow, or get out of the way. There's that saying, lead, follow, or get out of the way. And I think there needs to be another word in there. I think it should be lead, help, follow, get out of the way. Okay? Because I think we got the leading part down. We understand what that means in our culture and society. We understand what follow means, which none of us want to be followers, even though all of us are a follower in some sense. And some people much more than others. And I mean that to say, with mass trends and things that are popular, that people instantly adopt. So lead, which we got down, follow, which we know what it is, we just don't like it, and get out of the way, which is the last resort and kind of hurts our ego. And there needs to be help. Lead, help. And leading and helping, we need to understand that even though it's in that order, lead, help, follow, get out of the way, leading's an amazing thing to do. Leading is extraordinary, but helping beats all of those. Helping beats lead, helping beats follow, helping beats get out of the way. And we need to add that into the philosophy of the American people, of the of the Earth people. That there are more important things than you, me, people. More important things than you, me, people. Okay? When we start investing into other things outside of ourselves is when we are able to properly help. When it's not just because following is a self-investment. Following is like, I want that for me. I want that, like, you know, that I want to vicariously feel that, which is chat in general terms. But helping is hopefully more so a sense of duty. A sense of, not obligation, but of duty. Anyways, I could go on so many tangents, so many rambles. And I'm not sure if this documentary is going to do it for me. I almost feel like I want to watch something more business orientated right now, something to do with civil engineering or anyways.
Bill Clinton's presidency. In 2015, Laura Silvey married Norman Gaylor and took his last name, which is how her name now appears on the Connectus website.
Clear to attack, right?
How does a woman who was caught multiple times attempting to traffic children internationally get promoted to the executive team
Sharp as a
of the
tack, aren't you,
preeminent
Sperry?
kidnapping warning system?
Regular forces can reduce losses if you
And
tenderize
why
the
did
base
Clinton
first.
intervene in
If you
her
can't
trial?
handle that, just fly and be a target.
To provide support, as we do in every instance like this, to American citizens who have been charged, and hope that this matter can be resolved in an expeditious
You're hitting
way.
3 locations. Some have air powers, other
The
threat
morning of
levels
July
vary.
26,
Think of the best way to rob them of their ability to respond. Use those empty hands of yours.
Just
If you die too fast, you won't even be useful as targets.
The phrase Clinton type was often it references the
Transport truck
seemingly
spotted.
anomalous amounts of
Threat.
Clinton
Feel free to
associates
take them out.
who died suspiciously or under mysterious circumstances. Izette Folger, a close friend of Clinton associate
That's for you to
James
figure out, Spare
Alford,
7.
gave a statement in support of Salisbury during the
Aircraft that
trial.
joined later needed to
Folger
repair
is
their
a
ammo
well
and fly over the return line.
He coaches
However,
leaders
humans
of
do not have that luxury.
of models, or FTP, a large organization that runs orphanages all over the world.
I'm out. Return to
Folger's son, Max Mack, is on the board of directors of MPH Orphanage
Nice try.
of
This
Friends
stuff
of
isn't for you
Orphanages,
guys.
which is one of the 760 orphanages
Regulars like us
operating
are allowed to raise some fine.
the exact
in your heart,
orphanage
you want
from
us to
which
smash that base
Sylvie
by
was
off?
caught trafficking children.
You're gonna wish this mission
Max
never
Mack
ended.
gave an emphatic
like Bad Dog's
and
finally
statement
come
of
around.
support for Pizza
Spare 6. You
during the
haven't attacked a single target yet.
back when the Pizzagate controversy exploded. It is also worth noting here that Frank Wustra, owner of the Radcliffe Foundation, is on the board of directors for the Clinton Foundation and is a major donor to the organization. The logo of El Pita references the Radcliffe Foundation, happens to be almost identical in shape and color to the board represented
There's work to do.
classified in 2007. Now, regardless of how you feel about the veracity of Pizzagate, scandals seem to follow the Clintons. Their ties to pedophilia don't end there. Monica Peterson was a research intern.
I also feel like this documentary is too maybe important for me to play this game, because this game requires a lot of quick reaction. Everything's going by so fast. It's I've got to pay attention to the game, and then this person's talking very deeply about a very heavy subject, so it's kind of hard to juggle a little bit.
a laboratory to combat human trafficking, and a research fellow and assistant director at the Human Trafficking Center.
All aircraft, spread out and attack.
I also don't like to have any damage, so I usually just start
Data and Research Task Force. Peterson wrote and spoke deliberately on human trafficking.
Sharp as a tack, aren't you, Sperry?
On August 15,
Regular forces can reduce losses if you tenderize the base first. If you can't handle that, just fly and be a target.
And subsequently began living there full time. On January 3, 2016, Monica shared with her friend Bella some of her findings based on her fieldwork in Haiti up to that point. Quote,
You're hitting 3 locations. Some have air power, so their threat levels vary. Think of the best way to rob them of their ability to respond. Push those empty hands of yours. If you die too fast, you won't even be useful as targets.
It's the link to contemporary slavery.
Transport truck spotted. Not a threat. Feel free to take them out.
By this point, Monica seemed to be investigating sexual convictions and child trafficking ties full time. On November 13th, 2016, Monica Peterson was reported dead.
That's for you to figure out, spare son.
Although no body was ever retrieved for the
Aircraft that join later needing any repairs or ammo will fly over the return line.
Monica's family was
However,
told
you guys do not have that luxury.
they were kept in the dark as to the exact details of the crime.
Seemingly took her own life by hand. And since that time, things have come to light that just don't fit with me. None of this is oh, maybe that's just the way
I'm out. Returning to resupply.
Peterson's professor,
I was supposed to
Clark
work without hands
said
on
the
the
following.
Nice try. This stuff isn't for
She
you guys.
decided to take on one of the
Let's be honest
Democrats in
here.
the field of
Regulars
human
like us
trafficking.
aren't allowed to
She produced
resupply.
a 110-page
Make your own
analysis
for
of
us to
human
smash that
trafficking
base.
in
Am I
Haiti.
off?
2 years of research. We were looking for someone who
Your
was
suspicion
smart
never
enough
ended.
and
Feels like bad guys finally come around.
I will continue to seek out and publish report.
Cut the crap. There's
After
work to
making
do.
this statement, DS3 suddenly disavowed
Fox
any
2.
connections between Peterson and human trafficking and the Clintons. DS3 said Peterson had gone to the a number of times, but she was not there to research human trafficking and was now an assistant to the Clinton Foundation. Why would DS3 do a public 180? It turns out that he worked as a supervisor in the U.S. Attorney's Office on behalf of Dynacourt between 1999 and 2002. This coincides with the exact time period Dynacourt was caught sex trafficking children in Bosnia and Kosovo, and no prosecutions were made. Dynacourt played an active role in sexual
Vehicles have been
abuses
taken out.
in
Move
Haiti.
on to the next target. You're our official
What
fly
if
swatter now,
Monica
Trigger.
Peterson was actually onto something before she died? What if her discoveries were true? Has anyone else unearthed the Clinton Foundation's alleged ties to human trafficking?
Spare
Chris
15.
Cornell
Enemy's
is
got
the
a lock.
vocalist of the popular band Soundgarden. He and his wife Vicky
Chaffin
worked
flares
with 6
deployed.
different charity organizations for nearly a decade. In
Hostile behind.
2012,
They have a
they
lock.
founded the Chris and Vicky Cornell Foundation, which strives to support and protect abused and sexually exploited children from around the world. The couple eventually became involved with one of their foundation partners' organizations,
I have 2
Aid
orders
Still
for you.
Required,
Stop wasting
helping
ammo
sexually
and shut the
abused
hell up.
orphans out of Haiti. Aid Still Required has received massive donations from the Clinton Foundation. According to a source that spoke with Freedom Daily, it was during this time that Cornell discovered that these orphans weren't being placed into better environments after all, but were then being sold into sexual slavery and human trafficking rings. In May of 2017, Chris Cornell was found condemned to death in the MGM Grand Hotel,
Hostiles in your
leaving
area are
behind
nearly
his wife
wiped out.
Vicky and their 3
Get moved to a
children.
more crowded area.
He was
Try to catch
discovered
some
with
more
9
lead.
broken ribs, blood splattered on the wall, and had suffered head trauma before he died.
Another shot. Less
His death was officially declared a
The enemy
suicide,
base is divided into
but
3
his family
sections.
and close
You
friends
did nothing more than
insist
destroy just
he
one
was
of
in
them.
no way suicidal.
Why are you acting like some
Many
big
of the
shot
details
count?
of his suicide
Trigger's the one who
simply
did
don't
most of the
add
work.
up.
Why are you so proud of that full band?
For instance, Chris had just performed a full concert with no apparent signs of having 9 broken ribs. Chris's body was found cold to the touch, which would have taken at least 2 hours in a hotel room. This would place the time of his death between 11 p.m. and 11:30 p.m. when his bodyguard, Martin Thurston, was reportedly with him. There is no official explanation for what caused the blood-stained wall next to his body. His feet were touching the floor, and he was only partially suspended by his neck. Furthermore, Chris's bodyguard claims that he had to kick in the door to his hotel room to discover Chris dead. Not only was this nearly impossible to do without a door-breaching mini-gun, but the crime scene report indicated no sign of forced entry. After reviewing the autopsy report and position of the body, world-renowned forensic pathologist Dr. Werner Spitz concluded that Cornell's death was not a suicide. Dr. Spitz has worked with many high-profile murder investigations, including Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and John F. Kennedy, and served as an expert witness during the O.J. Simpson and Casey Anthony trials. One article reads, speaking to TMT, a source close to Cornell has unfolded that he had uncovered evidence of a cocaine and child trafficking ring in Mena, Arkansas, that was tied to Bill and Hillary Clinton. According to the source, Mr. Cornell had uncovered the identities of high-level elites that were part of the Satanic Illuminati occult operation as the Clintons and planned on exposing the donors.
They already know the next strategy. Hold up. Let's make a bet. Whoever guesses the next strategy wins. You can get in on this too, man.
That Lincoln Park frontman Chester Bennington committed suicide on Chris Cornell's birthday. Bennington and Cornell were reportedly working collaboratively to expose a pedophile ring operating in the music industry of Oslo. Although this cannot be substantiated. However, it doesn't mean that Bennington's death, and life for that matter,
sharp as a tack, aren't you, Sparade? Regular forces can reduce losses if you tenderize the base first.
Was handpicked by John Podesta to promote an organization called Sustainable Energy for All in Haiti, which received a $250,000 grant from the Clinton Foundation, even though they did not apply for it. Bennington and Cornell were both associated with the
three locations. Some have air power, so their threat levels vary. Think of the best way to rob them of their ability to respond. Use those empty hands of yours. If you die too fast, you won't even be useful as targets.
Took 130 days to release the autopsy report. Bennington's sister, Toby, has publicly indicated that she believes her brother shared the same fate as
transport truck spotted. Not a threat. Feel free to take them out.
She claims the Twitter account was subsequently hacked and suspended
aircraft that joined later
publicly shared her suspicions.
fly over the return line.
Cases of Bennington and Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman, John Podesta, which many have pointed out looks like a father-son relationship. The prevailing theory is that Bennington's mother, Elaine, had an affair with John Podesta, which would have been possible given that the two knew each other.
All aircraft,
The
spread
theory
out and
goes that when
attack.
Bennington's biological father found out he was raising another man's son, he divorced her. Now, many investigators believe that Lincoln Park,
Sharp
the
as a
band,
tack, aren't you,
is an
Sparade?
homage to Lincoln
Regular
Park,
forces can
a
reduce losses if you
Canadian
tenderize the
military
base
base in
first.
Alberta
If you
that
can't handle
conducted
that, just fly and be a target.
mind control experiments on children for the purpose of developing super spies and assassins. Many children involved in the programs at Lincoln Park were sexually abused. Bennington has
Hitting
publicly
three
spoken of
locations.
being
Some have
sexually
air power,
abused
so
as
their
a
threat
child.
levels vary. Think of
John
the best way to
Podesta,
rob them
or
of their ability to
Skippy,
respond.
as he prefers to be
Use those
called,
empty heads of yours.
owns a large
If you
and
die too
vile
fast,
collection
you won't
of
even
what
be
can
useful
only
as
be
targets.
described as pedophilia art. Podesta was also chief of staff to President Bill Clinton.
Transport truck spotted. Not a threat, but feel free to take them out. Kind of special.
What's in your car?
For aircraft that join later needing any repairs or ammo, fly over the return line. However, you guys do not have that luxury. So, what are we supposed to do?
In 2009, James O'Keefe of Park released undercover
That's for you to
videos
figure out,
reporting
Spare
that
7.
Oakland, the Association of Community Organizations for Reform Now, had been engaged in none other than John arrest him. He was appointed to investigate the scandal.
Nice try. This stuff isn't for you guys.
Is vocal about his
Let's be honest
disdain
here.
for
The regulars like us
on
are
February
allowed to
4th,
resupply.
2011, Amy Breitbart tweeted, "A progressive guru John Desta isn't a household name as a world-class entrepreneur sells solar
Looks like bad guys finally come around.
unspeakable dregs escapes him." Then, a year later, all throughout February 2012, Breitbart telegraphed the release of a video that he said would appear on March 1st. This video, he claimed, would be severely damaging to Obama's re-election campaign. Wait till we see what
Spread out and
happens
attack.
March 1st, he said.
We're clear to attack, right? I heard the
Right
regular
before the
forces were going to
anticipated
clean things
release
up.
on February 28th, 2012, he
Blow the shit out of
tweeted,
everything.
"How much longer
Sharp as
until
attack,
they
aren't
kill
you,
me?
Spare Aid?
Heart attack or
Regular
car
forces can reduce
accident,
losses if you
or
tenderize the
framing
base
for a crime.
first. If you can't handle that, just fly and be a target."
Breitbart died of an alleged heart attack on March 1st, 2012, just 2 days later. The coroner who conducted the investigation died of arsenic poisoning just 2
Hitting
months
3
later.
locations. Some have air
Given
power,
the
so their threat
greatly
levels
serious
vary.
nature of
Think of the
investigating
best way to rob them
international
of their
child
ability to
trafficking
respond.
and their ties
Use those
to
empty hands of
Washington,
yours.
Hollywood, and the Vatican,
If you die too
there
fast,
have been
you won't
many
even be
suspicious
useful as
deaths of
targets.
whistleblowers and journalists who've attempted to blow the story open. There is a preponderance of dots that, if connected, may point to those who seek to silence this message.
Transport truck spotted.
Moreover,
Not a threat.
this
Feel free to take them
fellow
out.
appears to be international in scope.
Aircraft that join the your ammo will fly over the return line. However, you guys do not have that luxury.
And international networks. The networks allow the media to cover stories on global pedophiles because it feeds the idea
That's for you to
that
figure out, Spare
pedophiles
7.
don't work together in clandestine.
I'm out.
On
Join
a
drug
industrial
supply.
scale.
How we supposed to
One
work
may not
without
look
ammo?
any further than the suspicious
Nice
death
try.
of former
This stuff
police
isn't for you
detective
guys.
Mark Newman,
Let's be
author
honest
of
here.
The Lost
Regulars like us
Cases,
are allowed to
an
resupply.
expose of high-level
If you're hard, you
trafficking
want us to
in
smash
South
that
Africa.
base. My off?
Shortly after publishing his book, he was found
You're gonna
dead
wish
by
this mission will
gunshot
never
to the
end.
head.
Looks like
His
bad
death
dogs
was
finally
ruled
come
a
around.
suicide, despite his family claiming he assured them that he would never commit suicide. He will cover up on who the cause was, involving former Israel Prince Marcus Malone and three other mental health cabinets.
Cut the crap. There's work to do. That was fast. Keep up the good work. Ryan!
And that is why I actually agreed to do this interview to dispel any thoughts and rumors that this could have caused suicide.
15 years ago, I was so frustrated and tortured by the loss of
There's the point.
Vehicles
will be taken out. Move on to the next target. You're on official flight
One
squad
can
now,
also say
Trigger.
the case of investigative reporter Lydia Hatcher-Miller,
Target destroyed.
arrested on false charges and had her home vandalized when she began investigating systems of child abuse in Mexico.
That was the 7th time in my life as a journalist that I have to flee my home in order to stay alive.
Finally have a read on the targets. They're in one hell of a place. I'll take it from here.
In 2005, she published Los Demonios de Miguel, The Demons of Miguel, a book exposing child trafficking involving politicians, government officials, and businessmen. Another suspicious case involves filmmaker Bill Bowen, who died suddenly under strange circumstances a year after publishing a trailer for his documentary Innocence Destroyed, exposing corruption in the Child Protective Services.
Some welcome. All aircraft, spread out and attack. We're clear to attack, right? I heard the regular forces were gonna clean things up. It's just like before. We blow the shit out of everything. Sharp as attack, aren't you, Spare Aid? Regular forces can reduce losses if you tenderize the base first. If you can't handle that, just fly and be a target.
Is it unreasonable to assume foul play was involved with these 3 brave individuals when this pattern appears virtually everywhere that child trafficking?
This really is so infuriating. I'm having trouble playing this game. This is... Oh, it's crazy. They just showed some of the kids that were taken by CPS. They had a, just a regular picture of the kids, just as you could see who they were talking about. And underneath them, they had the caption of what CPS allowed to happen to them, and, basically being killed, and it's like, what the fuck? It's that's what I mean when I say there's a point where you realize we are living adjacent to a type of hell. There's a parallel. There's a layer beneath society that society held that hid for a long time, or that I guess was in denial of. And so many innocents. There's so many innocent people out there, people that are just pawns, and there's so many more of us than there are of these controllers out there. I just wish, honestly, I wish more than anything just a peace, just a relinquishing of the atrocities, just that's the one thing I never, in that step of realization of that process, and that portion of it when you realize, hey, there's a lot of ways to fix the world. There's a lot of ways to fix the world. There's a lot of ways to fix everything, every problem we have. Hunger is one of them. Not being without water is another. And there's so many solutions. And the one solution I couldn't, wrap my head around, the one thing that I couldn't wrap my head around is how do you change the human animal, the human being? How do you convince the human being to let go of the ways we used to be, the things we used to have to do to survive? How do we let that go? How do we move on? How do we truly self-govern within a communal society that relies on everybody kind of being on the same page? How do you do that, because to be honest, it felt like we were there, growing up isolated in that beautiful American bubble. The great days, let's call them. Well, when we had those great days before 9/11, basically. I mean, those great days, there was a reverberation and an echo, a kind of ripple past 9/11, and it was and I know exactly how long it lasted. It lasted, that kind of reverberation of what the world used to be lasted as long as the kids that experienced 9/11 stayed children. Once those kids stopped being kids who experienced 9/11, that is when that last generation of, let's say not even kids, let's say teens, when those teens stopped being teens and became adults, those kids, those teens, when they grew up into adults, that's when it kind of completely switched, when that reverberation of good times ended. There was a couple of recessions, housing bubble, internet bubble, that were kind of like leftover slaps, kind of like to make sure, that we were beaten, that we were fully beaten. Yeah, anyways.
Trafficking is about to be exposed. On May 13th, 2019, police responded to the scene of an apparent suicide where an individual jumped from a bridge onto a motorway before being struck by a vehicle.
Corey Feldman, you are fake news and you protect pedophiles.
Actor Isaac Cappy, age 42, had stated in a live stream just 3 days prior to the incident that he would not commit suicide. While making bold statements about the existence of pedophile rings in Hollywood, he acknowledged he was putting himself in harm's way and had proactively taken steps to ensure his safety, such as setting up a dead man's trigger.
Something bad is about to happen? Yeah, something bad's about to happen. We know you can't trust the cops, so I was like, what can I do to give myself time to save myself, to insulate me? So I gave them the thing that said I had a dead man switch. What does that do? It means they can't kill me. They can't kill me. They can't kill me.
Do wealthy and powerful groups engage in human trafficking and conspire to systematically cover up its prevalence? Are the whistleblowers correct in their claims of widespread pedophilia, permeating the upper echelons of finance, law enforcement, religion, entertainment, and politics? We are left in perplexity. Do we go back to believing that activists on a moral crusade routinely kill themselves? Or do we take the harder pill to swallow and acknowledge that criminal syndicates will go to unspeakable lengths to evade prosecution for their crimes? Perhaps next time, we will pause and reflect on the brave mavericks that died exposing this monstrous black market. The next time we read a headline of someone who has been suicided.
This is a concerted effort. This is a concerted effort. Politics of personal destruction.
Okay. So now when you've heard that, you take all that to account, then there's the Diddy thing, okay? I've been waiting since 2005. 2005, 2006, those were the years where these ideas were exposed to me, but it wasn't until 2007, 2008 that I feel like I fully accepted it and accepted it as the truth. You're still able to, you can accept something as the truth but be in denial of it at the same time, because you purposely go into denial because it's too much, it's too extreme, it's too much for a person to be able to comprehend, so they need time to adjust to it, and especially if you're a younger person, your world gets turned upside down. There needs to be time to adjust. But yeah, it's been decades. And when I say exposed to these things, 2000, 2006, there used to be documentaries on YouTube that you can no longer find, that used to talk about this stuff, that used to be, that would divulge on Epstein, like there's this person and blah 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 blah, or used to talk about things that were happened in the past that are similar now, but people are gonna need that time to accept this, and like we're just getting the tip of the spear right now as far as the awareness that's gonna come over people if things are allowed to play out. I don't know. It's crazy, but with the Diddy thing, it's like a lot of that stuff lines up. I mean, trafficking, keeping people in suitcases, and transporting people in suitcases type shit. Like that is some fucking devious human trafficking shit. Like that's crazy. And of course, I don't even know how aware people are of the cargo container ships that have people on them, you know. I just came up with an idea for a great movie, actually. I Oh, you know what? I'm writing. I have a story. I got it. I know where I'm going. With the story that I'm writing. Okay. I mean, I don't know where I'm going, but I know something that fits into that story. Okay. Anyways, it's heavy shit. Very heavy shit.
Completely blown away. Episodes. Haish once walked up to a fan's house wearing only a bra and shorts, high on ecstasy. And when deputies came to detain her, she claimed that she was God and she'd come to Earth to take everyone back to heaven in a spaceship. But there was another dimension to Anne Heche's life. Heche claimed to be a victim of severe sexual abuse growing up, and she also accused others of abuse in Hollywood. She was one of Harvey Weinstein's most notable accusers. Just before her death, she made a new movie, Girl in Room 13, about the world of underground sex trafficking. Now, suddenly Heche has died because her vehicle randomly went off-road at high speed, crashed into a house, and
feel free to take them out. He's kind of specialty of mine.
Look at this. Here she is again. This woman is ripping open that body bag. Hello? Well, the LAPD has already announced that it's ceasing all investigation of Heche's fatal crash. Somehow, as we saw in that clip, Heche went from fighting her way out of a body bag to being brain dead when she got to the hospital. So, were these paramedics incompetent? Or is there another angle to the story here? We've had Erin Elizabeth on to discuss COVID several times. She's been all over the story as well. Thank you so much for coming here.
Let's be honest here.
So, I mean, am I seeing things, or is this allegedly dead woman ripping open that body bag as she's being carted into that ambulance and rushed off to
There are so many, I've never seen this many arguments about somebody's death, let alone most subjects as I have about Anne Heche. It's very strange. Now, some will argue that the body bag would be zipped, and this would be more of a burn, they're using a burn covering, but nonetheless, even if they want to get into semantics, so if they want to call it, you'll see some people that are saying, look, this is the cover of her because she could be burned, yet her legs aren't covered, which look like they could have some burns, and also she's strapped down, and where is a neck brace? I do have EMTs and medical doctors, experts at this asking, where there are definitely things missing. So even the ones who have, veterans, seasoned veterans that have been doing this, firefighters, EMS, that have been doing this 30 plus years, say there are some definite red flags. I mean, I'd say that just with that little clip of the video, to say the least, that she is, breaking through, and then they're kind of pushing her on in, and there are experts who have said they feel that they really just kind of shoved her in there. And why would they have, some say that, why would they have her face covered in case they can't see what changes are happening? What's happening with the if she were not breathing, if she stopped breathing, anything, they couldn't see what was going on. So, and not only that, but we still don't know. So imagine if Britney Spears, God forbid, were to smash into a building and die. Can you imagine them saying we've just we've stopped all, there's no more investigation.
Well, she hasn't accused anybody of raping little kids and drinking their blood in Hollywood either, which is the other part of this story. I mean, look, I like to talk about facts, you know, I mean, and then my basis of opinion just based on the facts that are around me. And the fact is, Hayes just made this new movie, Girl in Room 13, about the underground sex trafficking world that dominates Hollywood. This is very Cappy-esque, isn't it?
It sure is, and the film is just to be released in a couple of weeks, in September, 3 weeks in September, and still will be, so they say, because now if they try to stop it, then what would that look like? And I believe she's been doing a lot of press.
Well, I mean, are we going to see the film as it was intended to be aired in its entirety, or is this thing now going to be subject to manipulation and post-editing changes and content, deletion?
Okay, even though I haven't watched that whole thing, I barely played the game. 2 hours, that's long enough for me to stream.